While most of the ancient world was filthy, the Egyptians were obsessed with being clean. They bathed daily, shaved their entire bodies, and wore makeup that doubled as medicine. In fact, they were so far ahead on hygiene that Europe couldn't catch up for thousands of years. Here's exactly how they did it. It all began like everything in Egypt with the Nile. The river wasn't just for drinking and farming, it was the bathtub of an entire civilization. People washed in it constantly, and the cleanliness was tied directly to their religion. To be dirty was to be unholy. Priests took it to the extreme. They bathed up to 4 times a day, twice in daylight, twice at night, in cold water, because they had to be perfectly pure to serve the gods. Cleanliness wasn't a preference for them, it was a sacred duty. But they didn't have soap like we do. Instead, they scrubbed with a paste made from natron, the same salt used in mummification. Mixed with oils and ash, it cleaned the skin and cut the grease. Egyptians basically invented an early form of soap thousands of years ago. And then there was the hair, or the lack of it. Egyptians believed body hair was dirty and a magnet for lice, so they shaved everything. Priests shaved their entire body, head to toe, every few days to stay ritually pure. Most Egyptians, rich and poor, kept their heads shaved or cropped short, partly for cleanliness, partly to beat the brutal heat and avoid lice. A bald head was practical, but appearing bald in public, that was a different story. Because to cover those shaved heads, they wore wigs. Beautiful wigs, made from human hair and plant fibers, styled into braids and curls. The fancier your wig, the higher your status. At parties, the wealthy wore massive, perfumed wigs that were basically walking status symbols. Now, the famous look, the most iconic look, the eyes. Both men and women lined their eyes with thick, black makeup called kohl, made from ground minerals. It gave that bold, dramatic, instantly recognizable Egyptian look. But here's the twist, it wasn't just for beauty. That eyeliner was medicine. The dark kohl cut the harsh glare of the desert sun like an ancient pair of sunglasses. It repelled flies that spread disease, and scientists found the lead compounds in it may have actually helped fight off eye infections. Their makeup was protecting their health. They had color too. Many used a bright green eye paint made from a mineral called malachite, worn above the eyes, black and green, bold and beautiful. Egyptian makeup was centuries ahead of anything else in the ancient world, and it's still copied in fashion today. Living in a desert means dry, cracking skin, so oil was everything. Egyptians rubbed scented oils all over their bodies daily to protect and moisturize. Oil was so essential that pyramid and tomb workers were sometimes paid partly in it. Skincare was literally out of your wages. And they were obsessed with smelling good. They burned incense, made perfumes, and at fancy banquets wore cones of scented fat right on top of their heads. As the night went on, the cones slowly melted, dripping perfume down all over their wig and skin. For body odor, they had their own deodorant. They'd roll scented ingredients into little balls or pellets and tuck them under their arms. Or they rub on perfume pastes. In a hot desert climate, smelling good wasn't easy, but they put real effort into it. They colored their lips and cheeks with red ochre, a natural earth pigment, basically ancient lipstick and blush. They used a reddish-orange dye called henna to stain their nails, their hair, even the palms of their hands. To check all this beauty work, they used mirrors, but not glass ones. Egyptian mirrors were made of polished bronze or copper, shined until they reflected. A good mirror was a prized, expensive possession, often beautifully decorated or buried with its owner. They had a whole toolkit: combs, tweezers, razors, even flat stone pallets for grinding their minerals into their makeup. Archaeologists have found complete ancient Egyptian beauty kits, prove that morning routine is a lot older than you'd think. They even tried anti-aging. Ancient recipes survive for creams to smooth wrinkles and treatments to fight baldness, some of which were, let's say, creative. One baldness cure mixed together the fats of different animals. Whether it worked is doubtful, but the desire to stay young is clearly ancient. And beauty didn't stop at death. Egyptians were buried with their makeup, mirrors, oils, and wigs so that they could stay beautiful in the afterlife too. Looking good wasn't vanity to them, it was part of being healthy, holy, and ready for eternity. So the Egyptians weren't just clean, they were thousands of years ahead of everyone else. Daily baths, medicinal makeup, deodorant, toothpaste, skincare. While the rest of the world stayed filthy, the Egyptians were busy inventing the morning routine. Not bad for a civilization 5,000 years ago. Next time, their wild medicine, the cures that worked, the ones that definitely didn't, and the pregnancy test involving peeing on seeds. Stick around. And yeah, if you could leave a follow or subscribe with notifications on, that'd be amazing. Adios.